I met Rav during a big charades game in the Estonian building's rec room. We were randomly paired up. Even though I got stuck on his interpretation of the phrase to be or not to be, we still managed to come in first place. I was doing the talking to the skullbit from Hamlet. He said, "The what? I thought you were deciding whether to throw out expired yogurt." We burst into laughter, and something about the raw timbre of his laugh drew me in. We talked about life, university, all the usual shit students talk about at loud parties. But as the conversation progressed, I really came to admire Rovers's genuine passion about his major. The guy really loved mathematics. It's the spooky theoretical stuff that I like, he confessed, his eyes glinting under the fluorescent lights. When math transcends reality, when its rules become pure art, to abstract to fit our mundane world. Oh yeah? Like what? Oh well, like the Banach-Tarski Paradox. He put his fingers on his temples in a funny drunken way. Basically, it's a theorem that says you can take any object like say a big old beach ball and you can tear it apart, rearrange the pieces in a slightly different way, and form to big old beach balls. No stretching, no shrinking, nothing extra added. It's like math bending reality. Wouldn't you need extra material for the second beach ball? RAV's grin widened. That's the beauty of it. The Banach-Tarski Paradox works in a space where objects aren't made of atoms, but of infinitely small points. And when you're dealing with infinity, all kinds of impossible sounding things can happen. I pretended to understand, mesmerized by the glow in his eyes. Before he could launch into his next favorite paradox, I pulled him out of the party and led him down the hall. In my dorm, we shared a reckless makeout session that seemed to suspend time, until the sound of my roommate's entrance shattered the moment. Rav fumbled for his shirt and began searching for his missing left shoe. Amid the commotion, he murmured, "I had such a great time tonight." I smiled. Me too, even though he was a little awkwardly lanky. I thought he looked pretty cute, kind of like a tall runway model and keeps a pencil in his shirt pocket. Before he left my door frame, his eyes locked onto mine. "So, I'll be blunt. Do you want to go out?" I blushed and shrugged. "Sure." "Great. How do you feel about a weird first date?" I was put off for a second. A weird first date? I know this is going to sound super nerdy, and you can totally say no, but there's a big mathematics conference happening this Thursday. Apparently someone has a new proof of the Banach-Tarski Paradox. The beach ball thing? Yeah, it used to be a very convoluted proof. Like 25 pages. Yet some guy from Estonia has narrowed it down to like 3 lines. That's kinda cool. It is. It's actually a pretty big deal in the math world. I know it may sound a little boring, but technically speaking, it's a historic event. No joke. You would have serious cred among mathies if you came. So you're saying, this could be my Woodstock? He laughed in a way that made him snort. I mean, it's more like math stock. But I genuinely think you will have a fun time. It was definitely weird, but why not have a quirky, memorable first date? Let's go to math stock. Because the whole math wing was under renovation. The conference wasn't happening at our university. So instead, they had rented the event plaza at the city center mall. Oh, city center mall. A run-down, forgotten little dream of a mall that was constructed during the 1980s back when it was really cool to add neon lights indoors and tacky, marble fountains. Normally I would only visit city center to buy cheap stationery at the dollar store. But tonight I'd attend an event hosting some of the world's greatest minds. Who would they thunk? Claudia, come in. I've met me right at the side entrance, holding open the glass doors. All the boring preamble is over. The main event's about to begin. I grabbed his hand, was led through the mall's eerie side entrance. Half of the lights were off, and all the stores were all closed behind rolled-down metal bars. The event plaza, on the other hand, was a brightly lit beehive. Dozens of gray-haired men were grabbing snacks from a buffet table. I could make out at least 100 or so plastic chairs facing a giant whiteboard on stage. Although it felt a little low budget, I could tell none of the mathematicians gave a shit. They were just happy to see each other and snack on some gyros. It felt like I was crashing their secret little party. On stage, the keynote speaker was already writing things on the board symbols, which made no sense to me. It slowly drew everyone else into seats. XFXXN. Hello everyone. My name is Indrek. The speaker said, I've come from a little college town in Estonia. Cheers and claps came enthusiastically, as if he was an opening act at a concert. I nodded dumbly, watching as the symbols multiplied like rabbits on the board, and Saxon thickened with each equation. His marker flew across the board as he layered functions, G-del numbers, and references to Pythagorean geometry according to Rav. The atmosphere grew electric as if we were witnessing a forbidden ritual. Our AV's eyes grew wide. Whoa. Wait. No way. Hold on. Is he about to prove G-del's theorem? Is that what this is all leading to? Holy shit. This guy's about to prove the unprovable theorem. The what? I asked. A ginger-haired mathematician near the back smacked his forehead in disbelief. Indrek, you devil. This is incredible. The Estonian on stage gave a little smirk as he wrote the final equals sign. I think you will all be pleasantly surprised by the reveal. You could hear a pin drop in the plaza. No one said a word as Indrek wielded his dry erase marker. The finishing touch is, of course, in a single swift movement. Indrek drew a triangle at the bottom right of the board. Delta. Something stabbed into the top of my head. It seriously felt as if a knife had sunk down the middle of my skull and shattered into 1,000 pieces. I swatted and gripped my scalp, grit my teeth. All around me came cries of agony. As soon as it came, the fiery knife retracted, replacing the sharp pain with a dull, throbbing ache like there was an open wound in the center of my brain. A wave of groans came from the audience as everyone staggered to protect their scalp. Rav massaged his own head and then turned to me, looking terrified. What the hell was that? He asked. You felt that too? We both had nosebleed. Rav took out a handkerchief and let me wipe mine first. Good God. Indrek. The ginger prof exclaimed from the back. Who was that? Out from behind the Estonian speaker, there appeared another weary-looking Estonian man in a brown suit. A duplicate copy of Indrek. The duplicate spoke with a satisfied smile. That's right. With the right dose of Banach-Tarski, I have replicated myself, for perhaps the 1,000th time. A chorus of gasps. All the mathematicians swapped confused glances. Then Indrek's voice boomed. My incredible equation has also invited an esteemed guest tonight. A name you'll no doubt recognize from centuries ago. The audience stopped squirming. Everyone just looks stunned now. I promised our guest a meeting with all our brightest minds. All in one place. Indrek raised his hands, encircling everyone. You see, our guest lives for it. He feasts on it. Out from one of the mall's shadowy halls came a palanquin. That's right, a palanquin. One of those ancient royal litters, except instead of being held by a procession of Roman slaves, it was several Indrekas who held it, and atop the white marble seat was a tall, slumped skeleton of a man dressed in a traditional Greek toga, his thin lips stretched across his dry, sagging face. My fellow scientists, mathematicians, and engineers, Indrek announced. Allow me to introduce the one and only Pythagoras. Questions snaked through the crowd. Pythagoras? How? Why? What? As the palanquin marched forward, the ancient Greek mathematician lifted one of his thin fingers and pointed at the terrified ginger professor in the back. I could see the professor crumple on the spot. He screamed, gripped his head and collapsed into a seizure. Holy fuck. What is happening? Pythagoras appeared to be smiling, as if he'd just absorbed fresh energy. Rav tugged at my wrist, and we both bolted at the same time back the way we came. As we left, I looked back to witness Oiveof and Indrek flowing from behind the palanquin. They raced and seized all the older, slower professors like something out of Clash of the Titans, or a zombie movie. About 60 or so people were left behind to fend off an army of Indrek. I never saw any of them again. In terms of survivors, there was about 20. Were made up of TAs, students, and professors on the younger side. And despite our escape from the event plaza, the next couple hours brought nothing but despair. We ran and ran, but the mall did not reveal an exit. It's like the mall's geometry was being duplicated in random patterns over and over. We came across countless other plazas, escalators and grocery stores, but mostly long, endless halls. We called 911, ecstatic that we still had a signal. But when the police finally entered the mall, they said they found nothing except empty chairs and a whiteboard. It's like Indrek had shifted us into a new dimension, some new alternate frequency. We even had scouts leave and explore branching halls here and there. only to come back with the same sorrowful expression on their face. It's just more mall. Nothing but more city center mall. For sleep, we broke into a bed, bath beyond, and stole a bunch of mattresses, pillows, and blankets. We had shifts of people guarding the entrance to make sure we weren't followed. For breakfast, we broke into a Taco Bell, where we learned that the electricity and gas connections all still worked. This gave a little hope because it meant there was an energy source somewhere, which meant there had to be an outside of the mall, which meant that there could still be some sort of escape. At least that's what some of the mathies seem to think. Over the last day now, we've been exploring further and further east. We're constantly taking photos of any notable landmarks in case we need to backtrack. So far, we keep finding other plazas that contain marble fountains. There were winged cherubs spitting onto an elegantly carved unbiased strip. There was a fierce mermaid holding a perfect cube with water sprinkling around her. There even appeared to be one of a bald old man in a toga, pouring water into a bathtub. The mathematicians all thought it was supposed to be Archimedes, which I guess made sense because of his eureka bathtub moments and whatnot, but it laid a new seed of worry. Was Archimedes also somewhere on a palanquin? Was he looking to suck our energy somehow? We made camp around the fountain because it provided ample drinking water, and because there was a pretzel shop nearby we could pillage for dinner. People were scared that we might never make it back home, and I couldn't blame them. I was scared too. As soon as someone stopped crying, someone else inevitably would start. Our spirits were low, very low, to say the least, and so Red, ever the optimist, took it upon himself to organize a game of charades. Everyone agreed to give it a shot. It would take our minds off the obvious and help with morale. Pairs were formed. The unspoken rule was to avoid mentioning any of our present situation. Obviously, a Gen X professor did a pretty good impression of George Bush. A teacher's assist did an immaculate interpretation of killing two birds with one stone. When it was our AV's turn, he gave himself a serious expression and held a single object and looked at it from several angles, mouthing a pretend monologue. I savored the moments, remembering the fun we had had only a few days ago back in the Estonian building's rec room. It felt like months ago at this point. Hamlet, I said. I believe the quote is, to be or not to be. I've turned to face me with a very sad smile. Actually, Claudia, I'm deciding whether to throw out expired yogurt. I smiled and acknowledged the past joke. He tried to smile back. I could see he was trying so hard, but the smile soon collapsed as he brought his palm to his face. Tears began to stream. Sobs soon followed. I'm so sorry I brought you here. This isn't what math is supposed to be. This is fucking terrible. Awful. Claudia, I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. I cried too. I could never sleep at night. My sleeping problems began when I was 8. It went a little something like, my dad made me watch The Hills Have Eyes, alone, because I had been a little too much of an antagonist in school. That's when the bad dreams began. I always thought those cannibalistic mutants would come from under the bed, war out of the closet, and devour me in the darkness. From that day forward, I basically never slept the same, and it was a new, terrible thought every night that kept me awake, banishing the prospect of a good night's rest completely. And even now, 19 years later, everything remains the same. 2 days before today, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about my ex-girlfriend, Naya, and about how badly things ended between us. Yesterday, I couldn't sleep because I knew that today, I would be closing on the purchase of my new home. Tonight, I can't sleep because I'm on an air mattress, in a 1,400 square foot home, with no furniture, no amenities, just me and my thoughts, and my neighbor's dog. He's been barking all damn night, and I'm really hoping his owner shuts him up soon. I have work in the morning, which I'm absolutely not looking forward to, because I have to be up and out of the door in 6 hours. God. The next morning, I went to work and got bitched at by my manager for being late, like usual, and I contemplate whether I want to make today my final day, the same way I do almost every day, but the bills won't pay themselves. I left work at 443 p. and I stopped to grab a coffee and banana nut muffin before making it to the house. I talked to the Italian girl, Claudia, who always works the drive-thru. I'm almost positive that she likes me, but my recent breakup has me feeling reclusive. I say a few shy words and speed off, beelining through the streets to make it home. As I pull into the driveway, I see my new neighbors standing outside, a white middle-aged couple who look like they're going on a date, in the way that older people do. Nice collared shirt and slacks for the man. Floral dress for the lady. The guy's about 6'3", 200 pounds. Grain blonde hair. Side part. Goatee. The woman is almost the exact opposite. Maybe 5'3". Auburn hair. 125 pounds soaking wet. She's wearing glasses and he isn't. Their dog. A pit bull. The one who finally stopped barking last night at 1 a.m. Sits behind their fence, sniffing pockets of humid air. I glance at them quickly, noticing that they're already looking at me, and I extend a friendly wave to them. In return, they muster confused, though warm-hearted waves. I speak to them as I step out of the car, swallowing the last of my ban and a nut muffin. Hey guys, nice to meet you. I'm Charles. The guy says with the savvy of someone who's done this a lot. Hey, how do you do there, friend? I'm Andrew. And this is my wife, Annette. Annette gestures a friendly wave, but doesn't say much. I mainly have a pleasant conversation with Andrew, who seems like he usually does most of the talking. We first discuss the neighborhood, the people in it, and I get the vibe that I made the right choice choosing this neighborhood. Everything is pristine. The people are friendly and wave as they pass by. It's really a nice neighborhood. After further discussing a plethora of other obscure topics, none at all truly important, we prepare to bid each other farewell. I shake the hand of Annette, and then Andy, who's told me to call him Andy, as everybody else does. We share goodbyes, and I begin up my driveway. Her dog continues its gaze upon me, not diverting its focus once since I spoke to its owners. After I finish the leftover pizza that's been in the fridge since yesterday, I unwind on the air mattress, fresh out of the shower. There's no point in getting dressed. No one is here with me. I scroll through YouTube first, then Instagram, then Twitter. I open Reddit and read a few our relationship advice posts. My focus diverted every few seconds by white noise, some car passing outside, and Andy and Annette's dog barking. Tonight he was howling more than barking, and the way that a dog who wants a treat would. I blow it off, and after an hour, I'm asleep, and I'm outside cutting my grass with the new lawnmower I bought. After the neighborhood kids tried to overcharge me $100 to cut just the front side, refusing to conform, I figured it best to do it all myself. Only 20 minutes in, I'm drenched in sweat and full of fatigue. I'm done cutting the grass around dusk, and I'm beat, dripping sweat like I just ran a marathon. The sun's finally dipping, but it still screwed me over all day, and I'm kicking myself for not handing those kids $200 to deal with this mess. I'm dragging the mower back to the garage when I notice Rusty Andy and Annette's pitbull parked by their front steps, leash trailing in the dirt. He's staring at me, same as always, those dark eyes glued to every step, not blinking once. I mutter, "Dog, it's too damn nosy," and shake it off. But that looks sticking to me like humidity. It's 11 p. and I'm restless as hell. Couldn't sleep, so I'm out here pacing my yard. The night thick and sticky. Crickets screaming like they're in my head. Should have stayed inside, but my nerves are shot. I'm mid-lap when I spot Rusty again, sitting by their front steps, leash dragging in the dirt, staring at me like he's been doing since I moved into months ago. Those dark eyes glint under the streetle twide, and it's still creepy as hell. I mutter, "Dog, it's too late for this," but my hands are clammy for no reason. I head back to my porch, grab a beer from the fridge and no furniture yet. Just that air mattress and me trying to keep it together. I'm sipping, letting the cold numb me, when Rusty starts up not barking, but this slow, broken whine that stabs through the dark. I glance over. He's at their back door now, clawing at it like he's possessed, paws shredding the wood. He stops, stares at me, whines again high and frantic and noses the door open, slipping inside. My chest pounding. Something's wrong. And it's loud in my head. I should stay put, finish my beer, act like I'm deaf. But that whine's got me paranoid, like he's screaming my name. I set the bottle down, creep across the yard, checking their driveway, and his truck's gone. Annette's car too, out somewhere, I guess. The back door's hanging open, and Rusty's already in there, scratching like a lunatic. I hesitate, heart slamming against my ribs. This is dumb. Breaking in's illegal. Wrong. Could get me locked up or worse, but my mind's racing, telling me they're watching. Even though they're not here, I slip inside, and the air's thick, sour, like death's been simmering. Rusty's at a hallway closet, ripping at the floorboards, whining so hard he's shaking. I whisper, "What's your problem, man?" and yank the door open, palms sweaty. The boards are loose. One pops up under his claws in a wet, rancid stench punches me. Dirt, odd, blood gone thick and old. I grab my phone, flick the flashlight on, and shine it down, hands trembling bad. It's a crawl space, tight and black, and Rusty's nudging me in, tail wagging slow like a countdown. I crawl through, every nerve screaming to run, knowing I'm crossing a line. The beam hits dirt. Then holy shit, a hand, skeletal, sticking out, clutching a badge. A cop's badge, scratched with. Another body, a leg, twisted up, half-eaten. Bodies, buried shallow, skin peeled back, teeth marks everywhere. I gag, lurch back, but Rusty's blocking me, whining louder, like, I shine a light deeper, and it's a shotgun blast to the soul. For women, chained in the back, starved to nothing, barely breathing. One's got a scar on her cheek. Her face was on the news last year. Missing cop from downtown, begging for tips. Another's got braids. Half ripped out gas station girl, vanished 6 months back. Her mom crying on EV. My head's spinning. I know them. I've seen their faces. Prayed they'd be found. The third's got her own fingers in her mouth, chewing, blood dripping. The fourth's holding a skull human, fresh, eye socket still wet and rasps. They made us eat the rest. A Polaroid's nailed to the wall, me, asleep on my air mattress. Taken from above, dated tonight, with scrawled in blood. I choke, scramble out, tripping over Rusty, who's panting hard, muzzle soaked tread fresh, dripping, like he's been feasting. My paranoia screaming they've been watching me. They knew I'd come. This is a trap. I stumble through their house, hit the basement stairs by the kitchen. Rusty's already there, clawing at a locked hatch. It pops open, and a scream dying cuts out. I shine my light down, for women, chained to a pile of bones. Dozens of skulls, some with hair, some with flesh. A whole graveyard stacked neat. The cop's clawing her chain, has locked on me, whispering, "They're here." I bolt out the back, crash into my house, lock the door, hands shaking so bad I drop my phone 3 times and grab it, dialing 911, tried 11, stammering about bodies, the news girls, Rusty, the skulls, my voice cracking as I check every shadow, every corner, and I hear a gravel crunching, slow and deliberate, like they're taunting me. I peek out my window, breath stuck. Andy's truck rolls in, headlights off, Annette's car trailing. They step out, dark hoodies up. To calm, to quiet. Andy's got a shovel. Annette's got a bag bulging, leaking red onto the driveway. A hand slipping out, badge glinting. Rusty's at their steps, howling, jaws dripping blood. A braid hanging from his teeth. Braid girl's braid. They don't rush, don't glance my way, just head to their back door. He's jangling slow, deliberate. The lock clicks open, loud as a gunshot, and the basement hatch bangs, chains clanking. A scream choking off into silence. My phone's ringing. 911. Still no answer. As the door swings wide, Rusty's barking, tearing through the night. A shadow tall, evil stretches across their porch, holding something that glints like a knife, turning slow toward my house.